Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome on a lovely Saturday. The afternoon was very cool and warm at the same time with beautiful sun. So happy to see you all on a weekend. Let's start. So I'm going to proceed further with facilitators. Again, we are with Dr. Narjeet and myself. I am Harpreet Chaudhary right here in front of you as a Google certified trainer, innovator, and as a champion. I'm the leader for GG Ludhiana. Uh, we are just going to go on to the topics we covered from last previous sessions were the digital citizenship and Google Drive. And yesterday we had started with Dr. Narjeet, docs and slides. Today's topic, again, we have very interesting ones, which is Google Sheets and Forms. Anybody who loves to play with numbers, all the educators here who have to do all those complex calculations, I am sure with Google Sheets, few formulas, tips and tricks, it'll come really handy. We're going to touch base with just basics as we have only level 1 certification in view and in our lens to take care of. So we are going to start right away with Google Sheets. So, what are Google Sheets? Just for you to understand, for those, all of you, I'm sure, are using it, it is like a workspace. It's like a workbook, an online digital workbook, which is free and web based. You can, again, like you do in other Google tools, you can edit, add, collaborate, comment all across the organization within one sheet. You can make sub sheets. We are going to have a look at that, and tools to organize the data, to sort them, to arrange them, to have built-in formulas, so we don't have to memorize anything. Everything is there right as a cakewalk, you will see. We use Google Sheets to measure the students' progress through visual graphs. So that comes very handy when you're working on Google Sheets. There are a lot of apps. Also, the Sheet app is available on Google on your Android phones, or the iOS. So we're going to start here. Just a quick theory, and we'll move on and wrap it up real quick today. So where to find them? We're going to look at how to access it. The skills that we need to master just for level 1 are how to sort and calculate the data using the different kinds of chart, just pertaining to level 1. How to protect our sheets, so when we are sharing, we don't want our sheets to be messed up with. Then how to filter the data if we want to categorize the data in certain forms, we'll look at it. And then how to present directly to a Google Meet. So here, this is our checklist for level 1 certification, wherein you need to know how to create a Google Sheet, how to share it with others. It's the sharing is similar to what we do in Google Forms, Google Docs, and slides. It's all across the same, so that comes in really handy, and we are aware of it, I'm sure. Spreadsheet vocabulary basics, the formatting cells, how to have fonts and all of that, sorting numbers, text or date in alphabetical order or the chronological order, then organizing the data that we collect in the sheet, because in big institutions and organizations we have a lot of data. We are not just talking about 10, 20, 30, 40 students, but hundreds of them. And as you go higher up, you have more data to compile and to sort. So this is where it comes handy, using the formulas and functions, including the sum, average, unique, count, if. And you then analyze the data with different charts and graphs. It's more visual, and usually they are in the form of pie charts, line charts, or other forms of trend lines that we'll show you to monitor the student growth. Then how to add those charts from the sheet to their own sheet, where it's just the chart. Sometimes you don't want to show the background work to your principals or your heads of the institutions. However, you want it to be shared on a different sheet altogether. So that's one of the very important aspects of level 1. And also how to have those charts added to different other Google tools, how to publish those charts, and to protect them for no touch business from other people interfering and checking onto your sheet. We'll look at how to sort, format. These are your keywords, adding formulas. So these are some of the screenshots. These are some of the formulas we are going to look at. So equal to will be our friend here. And then how to represent the data visually with just a few clicks. So I think we'll go right away hands-on. So here is the data that I have created already for you
Harpreet
because
ma'am,
yes,
sorry to
ma'am.
interrupt you. Before proceeding, there are hand raised. Satya sir has raised his hand. Satya sir, is there any query from your side? Satya sir? Okay, no worries. Harpreet ma'am, please.
Okay, thank you. So I have already created this sheet, which I'm going to share with you. So as you have the sheet, we would again request you to focus on the sheet. However, this will be just in case you want to look at it later on also. So I'm sharing it right here for your reference. So it's a hands-on tool. But again, like Sonia ma'am has been insisting, Dr. Narjeet also, it'll be nice if you focus on the learning right now and then give it a hands-on right after we finish the session over the weekend. You can always do that. I can already see people joining in. So here, first thing, when we create a sheet, how do we go there? So we have again our omnibox, where I go sheets dot google dot com. I hit enter. I open onto my page of the sheets wherein I have options. I can start a new spreadsheet. I have some templates that are already given, and these are some of my sheets that I've recently opened. So today, previous 7 days earlier, all of that is already here. So if at times I get lost, I know there is a sheet, even a shortcut, not going to the drive that we were talking about day before. We can go to that tool that you're looking forward to, and you're looking for your data in that, it's a sheet but I don't know the name of the sheet. You can always click on the sheets, and you have all of them that you've recently used, and it will probably appear in under this account that you have created in the Gmail. All of the sheets would appear, so that again reduces or lessens your search. Then you've got the template gallery right up here. If you open this, there are already preset templates that are given to you, so you can have a look at those templates, and you don't have to start from scratch, and you know how to go about it. There's calendar, there's personal, there's to-do list. In the personal, then you've got the work related sheets that are already there. You can always use them or get ideas. There are formatted sheets, there are all color coded, and you can see there are all sorts of data that has been sorted and categorized for you to start, not from a scratch. But here we are going to, for level 1, just go to the blank worksheet. This is one way to open your Google worksheet. Another way, you go to the 9 dots, which is the waffle, and you go to your drive, and there we go to new, and we can create sheets from here. So that's another way to go. And a third way, I'm going to close this. Third way is to just go to the waffle, the 9 dots, and you've got Google Sheets as this green icon. That is your Google Sheet. You click on that and you have your Google Sheet. So these are the three ways majority of Google tools open up. So we are going to close it, and we are going to just work on the first sheet that I shared with you over the link. That's already the data that I've created. So here, just to have the first vocabulary basics, we know this is a row, a column. We've got one box as a cell. The whole sheet that you're working on, the spreadsheet, it is called a worksheet or a Google Sheet. And if you see at the bottom right here, there are lots of sheets that I have already created with data. So here, if you see, just a request, please do not edit anything, because we are going to work on it, and that will just mix up the data. So after this, it'll be your sheet. You can always continue with that. So here, the basics. So anytime you want to add a new sheet, you have a little plus sign which says add sheet. I click on that, a new sheet is added, and it gives me the name. Here it's saying sheet 24. Either I can double click and rename it as new, or I can always click on this down arrow key, and this pop-up comes, and I can move the sheet to left, right. I can hide the sheet. I can protect the sheet so people cannot see if I'm sharing the whole file. I can change the color of this sheet, so I can make it red. So you see there is a red line under it. I can always rename the sheet from here. I can copy it to a new spreadsheet or to an existing one, which is this one. And I can duplicate the sheet if I've got the same template, but for different sections or different subjects across my institute. I can just duplicate and just change the heading or the details of the children, the students, or the staff. And I can delete my sheet from here. So right here, if I say delete, it says okay, and it's gone. So that is my first and foremost. If I want to drag some sheet, I can go just simply click, hold, drag, and it'll move my sheet placement. So that was our first basic. The menu remains similar to the Google tools we did yesterday. So there's file menu with new, open, make a copy. Normally, it is recommended when you share a sheet with anyone, please make a copy and then share it so you have the original with you, and anybody who's working on it still has the shared one, and you can always work collaboratively on that. Then we've got the share. It's right here or it's up on the top right, which is the share button. You click on it. It gives you the options, the email address. For example, I want to share it with Dr. Narjeet right here. I click on it and I can leave a message for her. I can give her the edit rights. I can just give her the viewer rights or commenter rights, and I'm done. And I can send it. I can even send a link to her, or for that matter, anybody. So that is one way to share. If I want to share it generally, not with a specific email like I did with you all, I can just go here, general access. I can say restricted. So it'll be only with people I share, which will be through this email. Or I can say anyone with the link can share, can view it. Anyone with the link can comment, and anyone with the link can edit. So right now what you have is a viewer link. I will give it an editor right here. I repeat, please do not edit anything at the moment. I access is updated. I can click on done, and now you will be able to modify on the sheet after we are done with the session. So you can work and make it a copy and keep it handy for your practice. So you don't have to create a new one. So this is what the basic features are. Then we've got edit tool right here. We've got view, wherein we have the show view. We've got formula bar, whatever. This is the formula bar. We've got the grid lines. So on the sides, we've got these lines. View also has the formulas, the protected ranges. We look at it. Freeze is when you want to freeze a specific row. We will look at that. For example, you've got name, age, class, parent name, contact details. You want to scroll the data, but it's way beyond this one. And every time I move, my header will move also. So we look at that, how to freeze just the top header, and rest of the movement happens in the sheet. Then you can group the sheets. You can add comments for someone when you're working collaboratively for the person to work. You can zoom the sheet by the percentage you want, and you can make it full screen as well. Inserting, again, the insert is our best friend in any Google tool. So here, inserting cells, we can insert more of them. We can insert rows, columns, and all of this, in fact, when you click on a cell and you right click, also appears. So you see a lot of shortcuts are already there. Cut, copy, paste, paste special, insert a row above, left, cells, inserting cells to the left or the right, down. Then you've got deleting here, converting the table. This is a new feature, but it's not really for level 1. Creating a filter, we look at it. And then you show the edit history. If somebody's edited this, you can go back and check that. Insert the link, comment, insert notes, tables, drop down. These are all features of Google Sheets, but not all of them are relevant to level 1. Then we've got our format. So the way you can format the sheet, the data. So whatever you want to do with the data, all the tools are within this. And then these are some of the tools like spell check. You've got the suggestion controls. You've got a new form that you can create through this. So anything of that sort. Then you've got some extensions and add-ons to make your functionality of Google Sheets a little better. And then the help feature, of course, Google gives you that option. If you're stuck with anything, you can always use that help feature. Moving on to our first task of the day, wherein the first title, if you go back to your slide deck, it says create a sheet. We know We know how to share the sheet. We learned the vocabulary. Now we look at how to format, sort, and organize our data. So here, if you see, I have this data I've already made for you. So we have to sort the data. Let's do that alphabetically. I have this. I will select my data. I don't want to do the header. So I will just select the data. I go to format. Sorry, data. I sort the sheet. I want to sort the entire sheet. I want to sort a particular column. So here it gives me an option to sort it from A to Z, which is ascending order, and sort it from Z to A, which is descending order. I can do that through this. So if I say, I'll show you. If I say I have to sort it with ascending order, you see 10, 20, 30, 40, and the names also have been sorted. However, my title has gone. I don't want the title to be included because it didn't have a number, it went all the way down. I undo. Now, this time I'll show you another way to do it. I highlight this. I go to my data. I sort my range. Here I go to advanced range sorting. Now, here, if you see a pop-up opens, it says data has header row. So this is my header, the numbers, the text, and the date. I can either do A to Z, which is ascending order, or Z to A, which is descending. I can also do add others columns when you have multiple data sheets and data columns. I can always sort them and add another column. So I right now don't want that. I just want to sort my numbers, or I can sort my names, or I can sort the entire range. So here I'm going to do column B, column C, column D. I can do any of that. Here I just want to do this and I sort my numbers. You will see all of this sort gets onto my numbers 10, 20, 30, 40, but my header remained intact. So you just have to go there and select here advanced range. That is how you do that. So that's easy sorting. Moving on to the second one. Now we all have scores of students right here. I've already made them in different subjects. So you've got English, Hindi, math, science, whatever subject that you may be teaching. You've got the student names right here. I've got the roll numbers here. I want to now sort it by sum. I just want to and no filter. Okay, I want to first create the sum sort. These are all test scores of different subjects on 20. Now the first formula you needed here, there are two ways to get that. One is your equal to sign, which is your best friend here, right here, equal to sign. I will click on that and I write sum. I have to open the bracket and it gives me now what do I want to sum it. I will manually do this. I want to add these first column and row, first row items, which are these 6 subjects. I close it and I have my, my bad. I have my data. I will redo it for you. I will do the equal to. I have sum. The moment I hit on sum, it is already given to me. I click on this and by default, Google is smart to give me this. I will try again one more time another way. You've got sigma, which is on the top, the formula bar. This sigma function, I click on it. I have all the features or the formulas here. I click on sum. Now it has just given me open and close bracket. I will choose the range I wanted to add. It's already in C7. So this is my C7 and it goes up till H7. I hit enter and it gives me my scores. Now these are the scores of children. I want to just drag it all the way down and it automatically applies the formula. And with this, I could hear a beep. Anybody has a question? No. Okay. If you have a question anytime, any point, do not hesitate to pause me. However, you can still keep adding them on the chat box, and we will have our team answering it for you as we go along. So here we've got the sum feature right here for you. We just did the sum. Now I go to average. Same way, I do equal to sign up here. This is where I want my average of this student 1, roll number 1 of his scores. Of this 104, what is the average of the score on 20? I say equal to. The moment I start typing average, it gives me average formula here. I click on it and it gives me an average of the sum. So here, average, it asks me for the formula. Again, I do here sum function. I hit on this and there hit enter. I will again do this. Equal average no, it's just not taking it. I'll do one more time. I have equal to sign. I click on average. It says C. I want C7 to H7 is what I'm doing the average for. So I will go here, equal average. I don't want the average of I. It is taking I. I don't want that. I will go open bracket. I go this to Sanskrit. It says C6 to H6 and I close the bracket. I hit and enter. It gives me an average of 17.33. I repeat. I go to sum right here with my sigma. I click on the sigma. I click average this time instead of the equal to sign. It asks me the range. I go from this time C7 to H7 and I hit enter. It gives me again the same average. Now I want the average for the entire column. I will just click, drag. It gives me an average. For example, this student 10 has a score of 9, 16, 7, 12, 10, and 6. His average is 10 only. So that is my average formula. Now I want to know in this with this student, out of all the 6 subjects that he has, what is the minimum score he's got? So this is a minimum formula. These are just these 4 formulas you need to know just for level 1. So I'm going to go to my sigma up on the top again. I go to minimum, so which is min. I will select my range right here. I'm on student 2 this time. I have student 1 Sanskrit, up till Sanskrit, English to Sanskrit. I hit enter. So out of the score that he had 13, 17, 20, 15, 20, 19, 13 is his minimum score. It looks very easy right now because it is just 6 scores. Imagine you've got scores in hundreds for universities, you've got scores for different exams in different arenas, you have got basically sometimes salaries to calculate if you're in the admin, or the IT has to calculate other stuff. Then it is a huge data. We are showing you very basic data. So here I have all of this, just these subjects. I can manually see out of these 6 columns, okay, this one has only 15, which is the lowest. But when it comes to multiple sets of data, this comes really handy. Again, I want to click on it, this little dot on the bottom right of the cell. I drag it down and it gives me the minimum. So this poor child has only 1 in Sanskrit, and that showed his minimum scores. Now the maximum, same formula. I go to Sigma, I go to max, and I choose my range and I hit enter. His maximum is 20 on 20 on two sets. So now here when I entered, if you see this grayed out scores already there for maximum. This will come for all of them. I can either say autofill, it suggests. So like I said, Google is smart. Here there is a tick. If I choose this, it will automatically fill in. I don't even have to drag. If I say no, then I will have to manually do it. So I just tick here and automatically the scores appeared on the screen. This is your second function feature. Now we move to unique, another feature.
Prateek,
Excuse me,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir.
yeah, there is
Uh,
hand raised from Chandrasekharan
Yes,
ji.
yes, yes. I'm Chandrasekhar from Puducherry.
Yes, sir.
My very good explanation that you had shown now. My
Yes,
clarification is regarding the sum. Regarding the sum,
yeah,
when your student is absent on particular subject, see we used to mark AB as or absent. So
right.
how do you sum up in that context?
It will not calculate. The sum is only for the numbers that it will take. So when the child is absent and if you say ABS, it will leave that score. It will not calculate that unless you fill in the scores.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay,
if you have got on six subjects, I don't know if I'm understanding it correctly. If you've got six subjects and on that two subjects the child is absent, so he'll still be. If you still want to mark him as absent and not allow the child to take a retest, that will still be marked absent. But the formula will just take the numbers. It'll add up to the number that the child has got, and then that you have to decide. I don't know the institution's policy wherein it is on 20 times 6 120, or is it on just the 80 that he is performed on, but it will take only
okay,
the
is it
numbers.
okay? I think I assume that some function will ignore if the text is present, isn't it?
Yes, yes, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to unique. Now, unique is sometimes you've got a lot of data. For example, I'll give you a small example. On daily basis, we have a lot of kids. We ask them their opinions, their options. How many people want to go? Okay, we are planning a school or an institution, a college outing. We are doing a day out, and we want to ask them which is the nearest picnic spot that they would like to visit, or a monument they'd like to visit. So I have a list of students and I have their options that they've put. Some of them want to view Qutub Minar, some want to go to Humayun's tomb, some of them want to go to Red Fort. So how will I calculate one by one? Do I count? That's where unique comes in handy. Now here this data says there is a name of people. So we've got guest names, we've got addresses from where they are, which city in US, and we've got an invitation that we've sent them. I want to know how many people finally from which places in America have applied for this form and they've accepted or rejected the form. So I'm not going to go 1 2 3 4 New York. If the data, this is only just 6 or 7 columns and rows. If I have a lot of data, like thousands of people answering in your colleges and universities, we don't want to calculate one by one. So that's where unique comes in handy. Same way, you go to Sigma. Here you have to search for unique. Now I'll give you another way. You do equal to UN, and the moment you prompt the first few letters, it gives you the formula, and you can see whether it is the unichar, unique, unicode, or unary percent formula. So it gives you the prompts. I need unique. Once you hover, you can even check what it says. It says unique rows in the provided source range. So the whatever range you will provide, it will give you a unique source. I give here unique. Again, my bracket opens and it asks me, what do you want? The which column do you want to be unique, or what data do you want? I do this, I hit enter, and this is where it's given me these responses from just these 4 cities. I took the address also. So I will again tell you. So not leaving my header. So I say equal unique. I want to take the prompt, which makes it easy. Unique. I start from unique New York to New York. This is what I have, B2 to B9. And I hit enter. So it gives me 4 cities: New York, New Jersey, California, and Florida. So these are the ones that in a second I just highlighted the text using the unique formula and gave me these are the responses from these 4 cities, and they have either said no or yes. So that's how the unique feature comes in handy. Now coming to the count feature. So here the count feature just is count and count A. Count A, as the name says, is counting your alphabetical data. Count feature just counts your numerical data. Now I want to know how many values are here. I can even use it on the same data that I showed you right here. If you want me to check, here I add count equal count. It says the number of numeric values in the data set. I choose, and now I will select my range and I hit enter. Oops, it didn't take because it has the brackets. I'll take this one. I say equal count and I choose just the numbers. You see, all the extra characters it will not take because it is only to provide you data for the numbers. So I want to check how many tests or subjects are there. I hit enter and it says 6. That's the count it gave me. So I didn't have to go and check the count. If I don't, let's say, have the roll number, I don't have 1, 2, 3, 4 or anything. I just want to know the count. How many are these? So I will go here. I say equal count and I choose my range. It will not add. It will just give me how many students are there. I hit enter and tells me these are 20 roll numbers. And if you see on the left, it's exactly 20 as roll numbers. We've got 20 students here. Now, if I have to only check the value of the names, the alphabets, I will go here. Let's say how many columns are these. I don't want to say A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this time I will use the feature count A. Here, count A. And again, I give it a range. I will choose this. I hit enter. It gives me 12 columns. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 columns is what I have. This is my count range. So count A and count only counts how many numerical values are there in that data set without adding, subtracting, minimum, maximum. It just tells you the number and the alphabets. How many words do you have or how many written columns do you have in alphabets? That's count A. I hope that's clear. Moving on, I go to my next feature, which is very interesting, is the charts. Now this is what you have. You have lots of charts, but in terms of level 1, you've got only few charts to look at. You've got line chart, pie charts, we've got trend lines to look at, and we have got stacked bar charts. So we are going to look. I have already had the data that I've selected for you. So you can always, it's there for you. You can always, for practice sake, once we are done with the session, you can keep this sheet, make a copy, so you can practice as many times and make it so you don't have to create in with respect to the test. So line chart, I have the year, I have the new construction that happened and existing construction. So here I am going to select the data I want along with the headers. I will go to insert. Now logically, anything that you add on to your sheet, which is to do with adding a data chart, adding an image, adding charts, adding sheets, columns, all is insert. So I go to insert, which is always, I say, my best friend. We go all the way down and the third section says chart. I click on that and a right panel opens. Now here, because I had selected my chart, the chart automatically appeared. Now this is the chart I can work on. It's very visual and graphical. I've got two color codings that are done, the existing and the new construction. It gives me the year because it was mentioned. I can even change it here to edit it. I can say newest just to add. and it lets me change right here as well. Now there are these three dots, the snowman. Like I think I mentioned in the first session, whenever you see more or you see this snowman, which are the three dots, always check, click, explore. It has a lot of information inside. You can edit the chart from here. You can delete this chart. You can download this chart as a PNG image, PDF, or a vector graphic. Now, I had said in the first session, when you are taking the actual exam, anytime you are stuck, you are okay to go back and you're allowed. It's totally okay to go back to your tool that you are stuck on and try to open that feature and use it to see. Google has no restriction. It is not a test of your memory, it is a test of your usage, whether you know how to use it or not. So it is absolutely okay, but do go explore these features. What are there under the chart? There can be a question where it says, when you do a chart or you create a chart, what are the possible options you can do with the chart? And then you have to choose. You can always go back and see what are the options given in your exam and rule out the ones which are not. Copy the chart, you can duplicate it, you can move the chart. Now, what I was saying, sometimes you create a chart, you don't want to share the entire sheet with your principal or your heads of the departments. You just want to take this graph, which is they don't have time. So you have done something, you want to show them, it is a task or an assignment that's given to you as part of your job profile in your institution. You just click on these three dots, you move to own sheet. Very important, please take note, this is on the three dots, move to own sheet. The entire chart will move on its own sheet, so all that background work of the sheet, the data has gone. Now this is just the visual representation which you can share. Now when it is on its own page, you see, you can share it from here, you can copy this chart, you can edit this chart, you can publish this chart. When I say publish, you can click the link and it will publish the chart for you. So like here, are you sure you want to publish this section? Okay, and it is published. Now there's a link that it has given you, and you can share that link with email. You can send this link to your principal. Let's see if I can share it with you right here. Copy, and I'm going to share with you over the chat. So I have published this chart and I will share it with you on the chat box. You can try to open this and you will see it will work as a chart. You can even embed this chart, and it can go on to a Facebook page that you have, or you have a school portfolio that you create for your institution, an educational institution that you're working in, your college, your university, and you can always embed that as a part of the link. You have a lot of student created work under their portfolios, so these charts can be published under them. They just have to click the link, you don't have to always have the visuals, and they can do that. So this is how you publish the chart. You can also delete the chart. This is where you can download. You could download it from there itself, but you can just download the chart from here as a PDF. If I open that, it opens a new PDF, and this is my PDF that again can be shared through various means. I hope this is clear how to create a chart. This was a regular chart. Now we move to similar way how you can create. These are line charts. How to create a pie chart. Same way, I have the data. I select the data along with the headers. I go to insert. I go to chart. And this time, it has already given me the column chart. I don't want that. I want, before also it was column. I'll show you how we can vary it. As you go down, this arrow where it says chart type, it says column chart. These are the suggested ones for this data that Google automatically suggests. I need a pie chart. I can click on that because looking at the data, it knows there's a source and there's a percentage that is given. I click on it and I've been given a pie chart to look at. So this is how your pie chart will appear with the data that it is. Again, the three dots, you have the same way you can check those three dots. Next, you've got, I'm going to delete it just here. Next, I have the same data I'll show you, which we did the first time. I insert, I click on chart. It gives me a bar chart. I don't want the bar chart or a stacked column chart because there were two columns. So they're stacked on one on top of the other. I want it as a line chart. So this is a line chart. It gives me options. There is line and it gives me line chart, a smooth line, or a combo chart with bar and line together. I don't want that. I just want a line chart. It will very smartly differentiate my red and blues under different heads. And this is how a line chart would look like. So you should be able to identify between line chart. If you don't know, for example, you just skip it off your mind, you are confused, quickly go back to charts in sheets, try it out. If you have the sheet ready with you handy, just try it out and you will see it is there and nothing is forgotten. And Google doesn't get you minus scores on referring back. I repeatedly would repeat and say. Next is our stacked bar chart we just saw, because there are multiple columns. Right here I click on this, I again insert chart, and it says stacked bar chart. So right here I have got bar chart, stacked bar chart, and this is 100% stacked bar chart. So under the bar, you've got the possibilities of how you would want something to look like. So this is my first year, second year, third year, and final year. That is what it is given because those are my headings. If I change them here, I say, let's just give it last year. I will have to republish it, or if I refresh my sheet, it will appear on that. Now I will just highlight and hit delete. Coming back to last one on the charts, the trend lines. Now trend line is something that you would have with this information. It appears on a chart. I highlight this along with my data here. I will go to again insert chart. This time, if you see, I need to go to customize, not the chart type. It is customize. In customize, I go under series, and in the series, I can let Google take the color, the line color, or the opacity. I don't want to choose myself. I can click on the line type as I want. I can make it as dashes, dots, however I want. I want a stable black line, and I don't change nothing. And I think I am good to go. I will let it choose, and the moment it's done, I apply to all the series. This is what it's given. You see the reds and the blues. Once I click on this series, I go further down, all the way down. Here, under the format data, it says error bars, data labels, trend line. If I click on it, now it gives me linear line, 40% opacity. I can increase the line thickness to 4x. I can increase this to 60%, and I can say we are good to go. If you see, my bar chart now has the trend lines. So this is my trend line chart, how far it is declining and how it is stable, my snap test. So these are the scores that I have from Arnav, Avni, Aradhya. And this is how they are declining on each one, how they are declining on the test. It is like the whole class or a whole section overview of the data that I have. That kids are declining on the scores, or this one is the least and that student is the highest on it. So that's a trend line chart. This is a bit tricky. We will go back. I want to just show you one more time how to go about it. I will erase this because there are steps. I have selected a given data. I go to insert, I go to chart, I click on customize, series, I go all the way down, trend line, And then I can choose the trend line I want. It says linear, exponential, polynomial, the power series, however you want it. I can change the opacity and the line thickness, and I am done. If you see, I can see the line, I can see the line. I can change the color also if I want. So that's how it is. It's very easy, but there are a little more steps than the regular charts. So these are from the perspective of your exam. These are the 4 charts that you need to know. So as we had created this chart on our own sheet, this is where it went. It went on to another edition of the sheet. Chart 4 also was the same. I had renamed it. So I'm going to delete it. I don't want this. I don't want the chart 5 also. I delete, and it says, are you sure? Okay. Now we are almost done with sheets. Now my next one is protect sheet and protect range. I don't want my people to change the invitation. I will just change it to no. So I don't want them to change the invitation and the row index number. I highlight it. I go to my data. I click on protect sheet ranges. So right here, when I click on it, I'm playing with the data. So every time anything to do with the data, I will click on data. Anything to do with editing, I go to format. So here it gives me a pop-up on the right which says protect sheet and range. Now I have already selected the range from D1 to E6. That is what it has given me. I want to just protect this specific range. I set permissions. It tells me what do you want, who do you want, a warning when editing, so somebody will get that. Restrict who can edit this, it's only you, or you can change the customization and you want only so and so person to change in your institution. I just want me to change it. Once this is done, my changes are saved. I'd like you to refresh your page and check if you can change the data, and that's how you will realize you can change any other thing but not these 2 columns, because I've protected my range. The 2 columns, you can change anything else but not this. That's the idea of protect range. Now if I want to protect the whole sheet, so I can see somebody is already here. And if you can tell me quickly on the mic whether you're able to change it or no.
Ma'am, we couldn't see the, at least I couldn't see the demo.
Oh,
It
it's
was
not
not
showing.
visible.
It's on the screen. Is everybody not able to see the demo?
So protect, we can see protect sheet.
Yeah, we can see protect sheet. We all saw it, right? I'll repeat it one more time, ma'am. No worries. I will again undo this.
Harpreet, can you please enlarge your screen, like maybe increase the view to 100, 150 or something?
I'll do that.
That would help. Or just focus on that.
Is that fine?
Yes, it's better for me. And
Yeah,
for
it's
others also, if you're on your phone, you can zoom it. Otherwise, it's on the right side.
I'm not able to edit this. It's protected D and E.
Perfect. So I'll show you one more time the dietary restriction for those who missed it. I am selecting the column. I go to data. Here it says protect sheets and ranges. I click on that and the pop-up on the right opens. Now it is either the range or the sheet. I want the range and it's already selected as C1, which is here C1 to C6. I set permissions. I want no one to change it, only you, which is me. I say done. If you can refresh and now check if any of you can change the dietary restriction. I can see people going on to this different cells, but I don't see any movement of change. So I'm assuming it cannot be. Can someone change the David, which is table number 2? 3, column 3, table number 1 to table number 6. Let's see if we can change that. Yeah. So these columns can be changed. The last 3 cannot be. Now, if I change this, I select my entire sheet. Another very easy shortcut, which I'm sure many of you would know, how I do my entire changing on selecting my sheet. Between this column and the row, the first left corner box, if I click on it, my entire sheet is changed, selected. Now, if the data is all the way down or all the way to the right to the columns and rows, we don't want to manually select it because sometimes we leave the mouse, it's undragged. This is an easy way to just highlight it all together. I go back to my data. I go back to protect sheet. This time, instead of the range, I will protect the sheet. It says accept certain cells. I don't want. I just want to protect the entire sheet. I say restrict who can edit. Only me. So here. Now if you see, I don't think anybody can edit this sheet at all. If you can confirm, any of you, can you edit it now? I've protected the whole sheet altogether. So when I want to, probably why I'm doing this is because I want to share this chart with everyone. It's a collaborative document. I have the shared feature. I've shared it with my
Yes,
team.
it's protected.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the confirmation. I have shared the sheet, but on this, it is my highly valuable data. I don't want people to mess around with. So this is where I just want to save this particular sheet, but I want them to work on rest of the sheets right here. So this is how I do that. I can always come back to this little lock and change my permissions. So right here, I can do that. This is all what you need to know, how to protect sheet and range in your L1. I can just undo this so you people can all. I'll anyways refresh once we are done with the session and refresh the settings of this so you can all work on any of the sheets. The last one is the if function. I'd like Dr. Narjeet to take over. Are you there, Narjeet ma'am?
This I'm
So
I'm here.
unshare and I'll get ready for the next one. And this is the last feature for Google Sheets.
If function, people, the if function is used, or the if formula is used in spreadsheets, which is a logical function. It performs a test and returns different values based on whether the test is true or false. So it is. I always consider if function as one of the most versatile functions and is commonly used for conditional calculations, data analysis, and decision making. So it is the syntax of the formula goes like, when you type in the condition, it is equal to if, like Harpreet demonstrated from the sigma. You can do if and then logical function. If one value is true, return true. If that is false, return false. So the value or the calculation to return if the test is true, or the value or calculation to return if the test is small. For example, here in the sheet that I am presenting, it is different from Harpreet's, or I can do it in Harpreet's sheet as well because you're all shared there. Yeah, I can do it here itself. So the first logical testing that I'm going to apply is this, wherein if A1 is greater than 50, then pass, otherwise fail. A is not going to be taken. I am going to go to B value. B, if B2 is more than 50, pass, otherwise fail. And it will return us the value fail. Why is that? If B21 it is. Okay. The value is pass because can I zoom in? Do you want me to zoom in if you are not able to see it?
It's visible, ma'am. It's clear.
Is the screen clearer now?
Yes.
All right. So in this formula, what we did is we gave it a logical kind of testing. So what we do it, we go to either the sigma function and start with if function, or equal to if, and the moment you prompt the first 2-3 characters of the function, it will prompt you as to which function you want to use. I go to if. So if this is greater than 50, then pass, which the other two formula, the formula has other two logical functions, pass or fail, that has to be in double inverted commas. The first is going to be true, the other one is going to be false. So the first one is logical expression, which we are going to select from the score that you want to be tested. The first value is is going to be true. If the value is true, return true. If the value is false, return false. So when I say is B3 greater than 50, return pass, otherwise fail. I am using the formula again here and just dragging it, and you will see on all of that the function gets pasted. This is another way of saving time. You just have to use the formula in one of the cells and then drag the cells to all the rows and columns that you want the formula to be pasted in, and that saves time. The formula is automatically going to be pasted in. So the second one says if B3 is greater than 50, then pass or fail. Here B3 is 33. So the value that has been returned to us is fail and not pass. The third one is pass. The fourth one is fail. Okay, what is going to be the fifth formula? How is Anika going to perform? Is she going to pass or fail? Can I have some answers here? According to the formula that we have inserted here, according to the if formula, is Anika going to pass or fail? And the formula is it going to be 50? If the score is greater than 50, then pass. Otherwise, fail.
She's going to pass.
He's definitely going to pass. And now I'm going to change Priyanka's scores. And the moment you
Yeah,
change the
she should
scores, you see, she should fail.
fail now.
Though as educators, we are not supposed to be doing that. We are just going to be encouraging them to do better. But according to this formula, definitely Priyanka is going to fail. So this is how if function is used. And if you want to get nested formulas, which are definitely not going to be tested in your level 1, this is the simplest formula that you can use and how the if function is working. If something is greater than something, pass, or otherwise fail. You can also use that formula with text. Like description, if C1 contains yes, then return approved. If not, then return not approved or pending. So I can use this formula here. If C2 is equal to, say, F, return pass or fail or otherwise. The moment I have changed this formula, you will see the answers we have.
Sorting of numbers by alphabet or ascending descending. We did the organization of data. We used the formula of the sum, average, unique, count, and if. We analyzed the data into different graphs, especially the pie charts and the line charts. We learned how to use the trend lines. We moved the chart to their own sheet. We can add the chart to the sites, docs, and slides. Along with that, we could publish the results I showed you, and then we could protect the sheets and ranges. Now, this is a use case wherein you use Google Sheets for a class roster, for grade books, or for project plans. So this is what you have for the sheets. Now, coming to a quick check, if you would want to answer by opening your mics, please go ahead. The first one, charts created in Google Sheets can be added to a Google site. True or false? True. Okay, so we got that one correct. Let's check.
True.
It is. Thank you. Which part can be used to show trend lines over time? When we looked at our trend lines, the trend lines were over which chart? Bar chart. Perfect. I could see the A's. Sorry, I have to toggle between the two screens to see the answers. It is a line chart. Then it says Mrs. Michaud wants to share the results with another teacher but not allow the teacher to alter the data. Which of these choices allow this? Protected range, protected sheet, protected slide, or menu? Range. Let's check. It is both, because the question
Protected
says
sheet.
they want to and range, sir, because it says she wants to share the results with another teacher but not allow the teacher to alter the data. So she will share the entire sheet but make it protected range and sheet. Both are possible. These are some of the facts we don't need. And with this, we move on to our Google Forms. So here, our Google Forms is the second topic. Any questions on Google Sheets before we move on? And if you still have those questions, you have an option to put it in your attendance sheet towards the end. Or if you want to stay back after the session, or you want to keep it posted in the chat, please do that and we'll move on. And we'll be able to answer them before you leave. Google Forms lets you create. So we all know during the pandemic, in world across and all the institutions where we are all working, we had Google Forms used massively for surveys, for assessments, evaluations across the screens. So here are the few things. I still see a lot of people have moved on to Google Forms as their daily interaction with students, daily interaction with associations, with your HODs, with your higher authorities. Everything is there. We get a lot of Google Forms and information collection through this, even as simple as collecting and updating your personal records as phone numbers, updated addresses every year. So that also comes through the form. The parents are given Google Forms if they want to choose an activity, if they want to send some information, it's all through that. So a lot of interaction through this one link is just created. So it is useful for surveying and collecting. So these are some of the uses which could be part of your level 1 test, wherein it says you've got Google Forms and what all can be used for surveys, for collecting data, feedback of field trips, or some quizzes. This normally comes in as a question, so you should know things you would do with Google Form. A little checklist: you should know how to create and collaborate a form, and on a form, add and edit question types. So we need to know what kinds of questions you can add on a Google form. Again, if you're stuck anytime, you can go back to a form, open it, check, and get back to your answers. You can add images and videos on Google form. You can choose a response destination where it should go to an existing sheet, or it goes to a new sheet that you would create. You can share your Google form. There are a lot of changes recently, which is a good update for us, so you will have a look at that. It's more very handy and user friendly. You can view the responses in those sheets. You can do your gradings with forms, and you can edit the form settings. So I'm going to go right away directly to the working of a Google form. So I'm going to open a form here. Again, the way to open form: forms.google.com, and it opens. I will make it bigger. It opens onto my same page as my sheet was, as my doc is. So the format remains the same. You've got the blank form, you've got some templates here, and your recents, or the forms that you've created ever on this account, they're all here. They don't get deleted, erased. I can even see 9 years back my forms are there. So I will go to a new. Second way is to go to the waffle and go to the forms right here, the purple one. I can always move its position and placement, and by just clicking, dragging, and moving it. This is another way. And the third way is to go to drive and use the Google form. Now this is how my form is. I'll just make it a little bigger. I think this is more visual and visible. All right. Sorry about that minute version. So here, the first thing I do is I create my form and I make it demo 1 day 3. I have to name my form. This is how my form looks like. This is the Gmail I get associated with when I'm creating this form. The 3 dots, the snowman, allows me to make a copy, delete it. I can pre-fill the form or certain parts of it. I can embed it as an HTML with the code that it gives me. I can print my form. I can add app scripts, which is not part of your L1. You can get some add-ons again if you want to ever explore add-ons, and if we have chance in the next 3 sessions, we'll introduce that add-ons, which are additional features which enhance the usability of your forms, but it is nowhere part of L1. Then you've got the keyboard shortcuts that it shows you, so you can explore that. Again, not for L1, but it's just for your personal usage. You can always, through this folder that it says next to the name, it is also in slides, also in docs, sheets. This little folder is the drive folder. You can always, from here, if I click on this, change the location of your form. Normally, when we were taught to do this series, or when we were very beginner users of Google tools, we were taught you go to the drive, open the folder you want and then create it inside, so it automatically is organized. But at any time you're just creating a form and I want to organize it under something, for example, I want to organize it under 23, 24, but it's just a random form hanging out, I will click on this and I move it here, right here, and it is organized, and it'll give me a message, demo day 1 has been moved from my drive, which is the general drive, to this folder. So you can always do that from here as well. You can star your form to make it important, and you can come back to it. Right on top, I will dismiss it, I have the add-on, the shortcut which I saw here, it's right up here as well. I can have my form formatted. So this is the theme. I have a lot of fonts here. I can change them. I can add the size, but there is a limit to it. I can't go beyond 24. I can make it as small as 18 and go up to 24. For my questions, I can choose another font. Let's say Poppins. And I can make it a little bigger, my question, and my text, which I will type, will be a fair play display. So whatever I will type will be in that. I can change this to this, and I can change again the font size, so my text will be changed. Now I can also take a header. Normally when I create it, I use a third party app to create a header of my form to make it very personalized. If I'm doing it, for example, for a fair in my school or in my institution, I go back to this my institution's name and the title of the theme, and then I can choose that image, I create it on, and then I come back to it. I can upload it from my device, or I can upload it wherever it is given. I don't have it right now, anything. So I will choose the theme which Google already has for us. So I can choose any of these. I like colors, so I'm going to probably go with this. But there are different themes here, which are pre-given, preset themes. You can always choose from them, or you can have your own header created. I use Canva or any other third-party tool. I download it and insert it as an image. I can insert it, and you will see right on the top, I will insert, it'll appear. And the moment I have my theme right there, you will see my entire background, the color scheme changes as a contrast. So that is by default what Google Forms give us. This is the theme. I can change it to yellow. I can change it to a gray. You see the line is changing. I can change it to a blue. I can change it to even a purplish pink. I can change the background. These are the only options that it gives, matching my header. So these are my clip art themes. Now if I go up, this is what it looks like. This goes a little nice lavender color, and I've got a matching pink or a lavender, darker lavender, so it matches my theme. I am more colorful, so I like it that way. Once my form is created, I can preview it. We look at that. Anything you don't want it, you can undo or you can redo to look at it. This is where you can share the link from. Now another change, that before we just had share in the other tools of slides or sheets or docs, you had share. Here you need to publish the form first. So if I say publish, anyone with the link, I can manage that. I can send it to a person directly, or I can just share the link. So right now the editor view is restricted. I can say anyone with the link. My responder view, again, anyone with the link who can respond on it, and it's done. Now I have the link here. I want to publish it. Before it was easy, just share and done. Now we have this additional step of publish. Once it is published, it says it's published. I can click on these and I come back to it. This is where I can stop my forms at any time. Now, when I'm sending something and there is a deadline to it, it can be evaluation from your institutions, it can be something you are asking for a survey and you want to stop it. It cannot be an ongoing survey. This is where once you publish it, you will be able to see accept responses. Unless you publish the form, you will not find this option. So please make sure, this is something new that's come up on Google Forms. If you've already been using it, you can, again, I have already set it to anyone with the link. This is where now, since it's published, I can click on the link, I can use shorten link, and I can copy. This is what I can save and I can share with you. And with this, I think there is a hand raised. Yes, Dr. Piyush, please go ahead if you have a
Ma'am,
question.
earlier there were this option was not there, published. So if we make any
It
change
was.
in Google Form, so if we make any changes now, will it reflect only after we publish it, or it will reflect like live?
No, it will be only every time you'll have to know. Once it's published, you can make the changes. You don't have to republish it.
Uh,
But the moment you want to stop your responses, it'll go unpublished, saying here. And then, even if it's published, the responses are stopped. But it's not accepting it. But if you keep adding the changes, you don't have to republish it again and again. It'll keep changing it lifetime.
okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
So here it says it's not accepting any responses. I'll change it. So you people, I've shared the link. So just in case you want to explore it after, you can. But it's just that feature. Now coming back to our main form, we've got the demo, the title automatically. We can always change it to a different one. For example, we say Google Forms demo. I've changed it. I don't have to have the same one. If I change it, it goes up. If I put it here, it comes here. So that's interconnected. So even if you forget, there are times when it takes it. You have an option to make it bold, italics, underline it, whatever you want to do with it. You can insert a link right here for users to use, and you can even have the formatting removed, so it's come back to normal within one click. You don't have to go 4 clicks. Form description is regular. This is a demo form created for users, right here. So it's done. Now I come to my next part, which is important, is questions. Here, as I click, it automatically generates the next one. I have the possibility of adding multiple choice questions, short answer types. When I say name, it's a short answer. A paragraph when I expect a little longer answer, or is it a response from parents? Multiple choice, it's just a toggle button. Check boxes can be multiple answers. Drop down, wherein they have to choose. A file upload, which you can choose how much data you want to allow to upload the file. So we'll quickly look at all those. So this might be a question in your test wherein they'll ask you the possibilities of creating questions in Google Form. You will come back to this if you don't remember all of them, but make sure you have it hands on at least once to know what are the possibilities. Rating, which we used to create as linear scale before, it's whatever is a new feature, it pops up as new. So you can rate it as a 5-star, a 10-star, or from a count of 1 to 10, how much do you rate it as on scale. Then it's a multiple choice grid, match with several, and you've got a tick box grid. So these are the possible questions. If you want to add a question, it's right here. You add, so another box is a question panel is created. You want to, for example, you created, I have a form I want to send this to. So this is an untitled form. I insert loading form for import. Now here I had a form which was called untitled. I had one untitled question because I didn't name it. I can import it. So if I'm using a form, let's say for a regular training for my students in my university or my institute, I want to send them every time the similar pattern, but my questions will change. Either I have to make a copy and I keep editing the questions, or I create a new form which is more easy for me, and I import the basic questions like your name, uh, your university college year, your basic contact details. That's the same, and I can just import these questions, and I click it here, and look, it's just here. Now because it's untitled, it's not very visible. Let me choose another one from here. I insert, it gives me all the questions I had. So there is a vocabulary question right here, the title, this, and this. I need these 3. I import these 4 questions along with the title. Look, within a click, all these questions came onto my demo form. So I didn't have to go back. It says my instruction, the vocabulary, hence the questions followed by that. So 1, 2, and 3. And if I see, it's already been marked, it's a drop down. And when I will see it here, my question will appear as a drop down right here, and kids or students can attempt those questions. So that's another way. This is adding a title or a description anytime. For after any question, if you want a new section, you can enter that title and description. Or sometimes your question is like, for example, I had fill in the blanks up there. I want to make it multiple choice, and I have something else as instruction. I just click on that, I give that instruction, please select any 2 questions. So this is different than this test assessment. So I can choose that and create it instead of creating a different section altogether. I can even add an image right here. I will go to my photos, for example. I don't have any. I'll go to my drive. Let's see if I have any images of something in my drive. Okay, I have something right here. So let's say I have an image of this student that I have. I insert it. My image will appear right here. I can always click on these left top corner 3 buttons, my snowman. I can align it left, center, right. I can change this image and I go back to it, or I can remove it. So that's, I can even resize it by clicking on the corner edge, and I can bring it back to the original size as well. So here, there, and I can ask my question pertaining to this image, write 5 sentences on the student, or write the qualities of this character if I'm reading a book in literature or something. So that's adding an image. I can even add, let's say on a new question, I add a question, and here I add a video. Now here I say, let's say periodic tables. These are my periodic tables. This is a small one. I will just take that. I insert, and I can say watch the video and answer the questions. So there, it's done. And now I can, after this, add a question right after, and this is my question 1 and the options. So this is how I can use this. If I want to make a section, sometimes you have these forms that you fill or you create, wherein you have page 1, you've got just the information, personal details, name, age, the contact numbers, or the section you belong to, or the college campus that you are in, or your institute. Then it goes on to page 2 of 3. So which means there are 3 pages, and this is the second one, which has got this the short answer type questions. Then the third one. So that's where you create a section. We'll have a look at it at the preview, so you'll know what we've created. So it says after section 1, continue to section 2. I've created, I add, so section 2 of 2, I have created it as science. And my third section, I can add as many questions after. I will add my next section right under. So I've got science, and this is my management section. So I've got these. Now I can always go back. So these are my 3 sections. After this, it will continue automatically to my next section as the form will go. Now I will come back to my first section, which is my types of questions I can enter. So this is the panel, then the type of questions. So I can have first one as a short answer. So short answer, your full name, and that's it. I don't have to have an answer to it, and I make it as a required question. I add the second question here as a paragraph. Write about your semester project in about 100 words. Done. So this is like a paragraph. Next I have is the third question. I can add here and I will go back to my question type. This time it will be a multiple choice question, or I want a file upload here. Let's do that. So a file upload, the moment I click on this, it says file uploads will be uploaded to the form's owner's drive. So it will come to my drive. Respondents will be required to sign in to Google, so to get the authenticity and the validity when file upload questions are added to a form. Now it's mandatory for them, or if you select an option where automatically emails will be taken wherever they're entering from, it'll automatically be accepted by Google. Please only share form with people you trust, okay, because it comes to your drive. You don't want unnecessary data. So here, the moment I say continue, it will give me the option to add my question. Share your final project. Here, share final project. Now it says allow only specific file types. I want to have them share a presentation or a PDF and maybe a video. Now since it's a video, I want it a little longer. I can have maximum number of files. I want only one. I don't want to have them give me all the files, and then for me to increase my task, I will just ask them to share only one file. But if there are multiple documents, you can have an option of going up to 10 files that they can share. The file size, now it's the minimum is 10 MB, 1 MB. It goes up to 10 GB. We don't need that much. I can just say 1 GB because I'm adding a video to it. So that's it. These are my settings I can do pertaining to this specific file upload. I can go here to click to see which folder it will get onto, but once it starts coming, you can still access that. This form can accept up to 1 GB of files. I can still change it here. My question for the upload is also done. Moving on to my next question, it is already given. I move on to this second section. Coming back here, I will have my multiple choice question. What month, I'll give a very basic one to save time. What month are we in now? So I will say here option 1 January, enter. February, it's smart, it automatically took it, and March. I have these multiple choice. They can only choose one. Again, by default, it is acting as compulsory question. I can duplicate it as a multiple choice. I just don't need to have every time selected. I can duplicate my question here. What day are we on? So if I say Monday, my format remains the same. I say Tuesday and Wednesday. Here I will change my question to change it to a checkbox. Which days do we come to school? Come to the university. We come to the university. So here, these are the 3 days they can choose. It's a checkbox. So you see the toggle button, the round button, change to a checkbox. Next one I have is I add another question, and instead of multiple choice, I take a drop down. Select your branch. So my university is in Noida. Is it in Gurgaon? Is it in West Delhi? Or is it in Faridabad? There. So it's a drop down that appears. My next question I will choose with a linear scale. Now here I am adding on to from the rating of 1 being the most preferred to the there. So here, least preferred being the one and most preferred being. So did you like the lesson theme for the semester? Let's say I am a literature professor and I have a theme I chose. So the one being the least, five being the most preferred. I can choose my another question type as multiple choice grid or tick box grid. So here I will have multiple rows and columns and I will choose the similar kind of questions that I have. So it works on the same way of, it works as the same way of the checkbox and the toggle button. Now here I can see already people have started responding. Let's look at the preview, how it will look as the form. So here, this is my form. Since I am the editor, it will give me this little bottom right pen mark to show that I am the editor. You might not have that option if you're not the editor. We also call it as a collaborator. So here, since it was an upload form, it by default will ask me and not let me proceed if I don't have my email here. Then it says my full name. So all these stars up here show that it is a compulsory question. So I say it's Harpreet. It's right about the semester project. So I've written whatever. I share a file. So here I'm going to upload a file. And it gives me a maximum could be this option. I will upload either from my desktop or I will upload from my drive. So here, let's see if I have this file. It is a Google Sheet. Let's see if it allows us, because we did not let it go on to any form. It is a PDF that it got downloaded because we downloaded a graph, if you remember, a chart. So it allowed me to start with the PDF. Then we have vocabulary questions. I can choose, there's a drop down. So I will just choose random ones. So this is how a drop down would appear. Commercial, and I don't know, I'm sure all my questions and answers will be wrong. Multiple choice, these are the blah, 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 blah instructions. I have this to do with it. I have the month. So this is a multiple choice question. We are in January. Which days do we come to the university? We come on Mondays and Wednesdays. Here is my branch. Again, a drop down. So I am from Gurgaon. Do you like the lesson theme for the semester? It was okay. Least preferred to most preferred. It was fine. And this question, it is just the row and the column, and you can add multiple rows to answer your questions. So there, this one is just a video that I can watch within this, or I can go to. So this is a video, and then I have to answer my questions. I didn't put the options because we did sections. If you remember, it says next. I click on this. My next section comes in, which was this one. Now I go back to edit because we didn't close the form. I go back to the pen again. If you see this. Okay, this is what I have to change and to see, because my video is there. It says the form supports 5 loading to 1 GB. I continue this. I go back to my first section. This is that long. The second section and the third section. Third section, I didn't really add any questions. I just added the management and I added a question. Once I add a question, and this is my last one, I'm done with my form. Now, if I say go back to my responses, where can I see my response? So I can see Dr. Piyush has entered a response. This is where it will be recorded. This is where it gives me the response he's given. He's given me a PDF. This is how my pie chart, the visual answers would be that how many answered as this, because we have only one participant right here. So Dr. Piyush has answered this. So 1 will be the number that's visible. These are all the answers I can see. All of this, very visual. If it was a multiple choice question with check boxes, it gives me the bars because we have multiple possibilities. Then it says select your branch. He didn't. So not responses yet because it was not a compulsory question, and there it is. So here if I go to my settings, this is where I can make it a quiz. I just change the toggle button. The moment I make it a quiz, I can give my quiz the answers right here. For example, this one, I'll click on this question. It has a bottom that says answer key. Right here. I click on it and I can choose the right answer. Okay, this is the right answer. And I can give it maybe 1 point, maybe 2 points, maybe 3 points. That I can do on my own manually. Once it's done, I hit done button and it's done. So that's how my answer responses change according to the setting. If I don't make it a quiz, it is just a regular survey. I don't need to make a survey or a participation certificate form as a quiz. So I can always change that. Now with the quiz, I can immediately release the scores, or if there are questions where, if you see, I had questions like writing a paragraph or uploading the project for the semester. There I will manually review it, and that's how it will be done. Then if you want the respondents to see the missed questions, they can. I want it. If you want them to see the correct answers after the grades are released, no, I don't want. I want it to be discussed during my session. If you want the point values that they received to be seen, you can show them that they got 20 on 25, or you don't want. Then this is default point value. You can even change that to, let's say every question will have default value of 3. Now here is where you can manage your responses by protecting the validity. You can verify the email addresses. So it is there. I can even choose do not collect. I am just doing a random survey with the world of the community I know of. I don't want them to give me all the email IDs and fill up my drive. I don't want that. So I do not collect, or I can let the users use it. This always is not a very good option because a lot of times there are possibilities users can make errors while even entering their email IDs. So that if it is verified, it by default, they just have to click on the checkbox. Senders, you send them a response. Once they are done, they will get a response via the email they are entering the form into. Always when requested, so there's an option if you say, would you like a response of it? Yes or no. So many people would like it, so I'll turn it on. Always allow response editing. I want them to change it maybe and come back to a different answer if they think of, or something else they want to add. For example, the form you get as attendance, you filled it up but you realize, okay, I think I forgot, I could have mentioned if this was done in the session, or I didn't understand this one, can I still go back and edit the form and put it in my question area, the query? I can do that. But when we are giving it as an evaluation assessment, we don't want it to be done. We don't want parents to enter multiple times their responses for a specific ask we are asking them. So we don't want that. So we do that. They cannot edit. They cannot do multiple responses. So we can limit that to one response right here. Then it says total size limit for your uploads. We've set it to 1 GB. From here, we can still change it to 100 GB, 1 terabyte, or just keeping it to 10 GB. I can change that right here. And then the presentation, how you would want the form to be presented. Here, you want to show the progress bar. Yes. If you show that, and if you look at this preview, now once one section is over, it will tell us there are 3 pages and one, this is the first one. Sometimes you don't know how long is the form. So it's always nice if you have multiple sections to give that overview to the participant or a user. Then if there is no numbering, you sometimes have a quiz you want to ask them, There is no numbering. You can shuffle the order. So every time any student who's logging in, even the neighbor, does not have the same question in the order that it is given as a standard. But if you've got, for example, the personal details on top, then you've got project 1, project 2, you don't want to shuffle them, then it's not a good an option. This one is where you, at when you fill up the form, it says thank you, your response has been recorded, or thank you so much, click on the link. If you want your students to go to a link to review or pre-cap the next theme that you're doing in your session, so they get prepared for it, this is again another way. You just need to edit it and write. Sometimes if you want to add a website you want them to refer to, or to go back to your website where you've got your tools, you can always say, okay, thank you, your response has been recorded, or thank you for your response, please visit this website to fill up your details, or to view more information. You can always put that, save it, and it will appear at the end of your form. This is how people do that. Show link to submit the another response, we have disabled it. We only want them to limit it to one. This is the result summary you want to check. Then disable autosave for respondents. Now sometimes you fill up the form, you have something else, or when you're doing it on phone, you're shuffling between different screens. You can always come back to this, and the data that you filled in is already there. It's not starting from scratch. So if you are very mean, or you want your kids to do it again and again, or someone who you want, it can be disabled, and then they, every time they visit the form, maybe it's for some security, you can disable it. Form defaults, this is where it is, the email address is verified, or if you choose it on the top as do not collect, it will be as a default for all your forms, and then you can change it as a standard. And the question defaults, we want to make it compulsory and required, so this is where you do it. Or some questions you don't want, for example, if you're saying phone number 1 and phone number 2, your contact detail, some people will only have one mobile number, or they don't want to share, you can make that as not default, so they can at least have one information number for you, but not all. So this is what we have. Last thing on the form, how to link it to a sheet. So wherever you have your responses, you link it to the sheet. You click on this. It says create a new spreadsheet, which is under this name. Or if you already have a spreadsheet and you're making sub sheets, that's where you do that. So I want to create it as new, and you click on create. It will create and open on a new tab my spreadsheet with nice formatting already done. So I have the timestamp of when Dr. Piyush filled it. I have his email address, which was by default taken. We did not have the scores by then when he attempted it, so there is nothing on that. But if you remember, we made it as 3-mark question, so it's taken it as the total. His name, we've got all what he's filled in as per our requirement, and there it is. So you've got all the answers to see. Now anytime you want to hide a column, you can just right click, hide that column. It minimizes the data. I can move and drag this column. This is another feature of Google Sheet, which we didn't look at, but it was not needed. But just these are some of the shortcuts you can always move and drag. So with this, we come to the end of our Google Forms. I'll go back to the slide deck right here. So we looked at the different types of forms, different question types, how to create this feedback. This is a use case, how to custom the design with our header, footer, and all of that. And then these are some of the questions we looked at: how to upload file, video, multiple choice, rating. We looked at how to add collaborators, so by publishing it. And then let's do a little quiz right here. Just a quick one, a long one though. Mr. Bentley finds it easy to use Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides in his classroom as they're very similar to other programs he's used in past. He overhears his colleague, Miss Bernard, talk about using Google Forms as well, but he isn't sure how it's relevant in a school or an educational environment. Which of these followings are relevant uses of Google Forms? If you can just write the alphabets in the chat or just say it loud, I'm okay with both. Is it good for designing a logo for the school? Is it good for surveys, for collecting data? Is it good for gathering feedback? Is it good for formative quiz checks? Is it good for performing basic calculations, or for creating an interactive presentation? I'll give you a clue. We have 3 correct answers here. So let's see if you've got that answer there. We can see BCD. All right. A lot of people are saying B, C, and D. So which is surveys, gathering feedback, creating formative quiz. Let's check. Yes, you are right. इसके लिए आपको मिलेगा कुछ भी नहीं. Throughout the academic year, Miss Michael has the students create many projects and would like to track the progress of a student. She creates Google Sheet that contains a student's name with each assignment, data, score. The columns are addressed right here with these name, assignment, date, score, standard. Which tool can Miss Michael use to add data to her Google Sheet more easily? Draw, Docs, Google Forms, or Google Slides? This one is very obvious. We've got it as Google Forms. Google Forms are most helpful in which type of task? Drafting responses to emails, classroom quick checks, measurement of progress, or communicating to larger projects or larger group of educators. Okay, so we say student progress. It is quick classroom checks when you've got quick reviews you can do and measure student progress over time. You have been asking students to watch short videos for homework instead of reading the textbook. Students seem to be prepared for class, but you're wondering how many of your students are actually watching the videos. Which sharing option might help to best gauge the compliance of the class by allowing you to include some comprehension questions? Again, is it sharing the link via email, embed video in form, video in a slide deck, or video embedding in Google site? Okay, people are saying B and B and C. Let's check. It is only B when we are talking to the form, because it is in the form. We can check their learning right there. What are the good uses of Google Forms in a classroom setup? It can be quizzes, assessments, gathering data, draft an essay, or surveys. I can see C, D, A, B, D. So let's see. It is A, B, D. You are right. Absolutely. Why would you want to have people fill out a Google form rather than simply sharing a Google Doc to collect their responses? All their multiple choice. There's option to make number of different question formats. You can use the responses section in the form to see graphic breakdown. Remember, if you have it in the sheet, you can create a graph. So it's all interconnected. Google Docs are harder to organize, which is not really true, but all form responses are saved in Google Sheet and our results are easier to see. So let's see A, B, D. Okay, yes, it is A, B, and D. So now this one is a new question, a new type. This is a lot of times in the exam setup, wherein these are drag and drop questions. You have places to drag them. So you have got Mr. Hoffman using Google Slides to introduce new project. He wants to embed and link to docs, forms, drawings in order to make his slides interactive. Use drag and drop to match the app that it will be used for within the slides to encourage participation. Now here you've got the options of Google Docs. What all can you do with docs? Gauge understanding, add additional reference material. Can we say that instead of just putting ABC? Because this one in the exam, normally you have to drag the blue one under a box that's given under docs, and you just have to drag in the exam. That's how it works. Here it's hard to match. So either you can say one A and C, or two is B, or you can just unmute and say it. It'll be easier. So Google Docs, what do you think Google Docs can do? B and D. We are listening to additional reference material and suggested notepad. Okay, that sounds good. Google Forms. What would Google Forms do? It says B and D. Some of them are saying Google Forms add additional reference material. Okay. And then what about the drawings? With Google Drawings, what can you do? Graphically design ideas, suggestion notepads. Okay, that's E. So I think we have pretty much the answers. Let's look at this. So drawing, anybody who said E was correct. It can design graphically. Docs can do additional reference material and suggested notepad. So that was our first correct answer, B and D. And forms are to gauge understanding when you do a quick assessment, and then you have you rate the content that has been presented. Remember, from a scale of 1 to 10, the linear representation, that was the Google form. Now,
So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Harpreet ma'am, Narjeet ma'am, for your valuable insights in this training program. And thank you, every one of you, for joining us today for this session. Happy weekend, happy learning to everyone. We'll meet again on Wednesday with more of the enthusiasm.